Let's move on now to another story in Afghanistan. The man behind me is Sirajuddin Haqqani. He is the Interior Minister for the Taliban government in Afghanistan and is known to be one of the most conservative voices in the country. Haqqani has come out with a new promise. Haqqani now says he is making efforts to find a solution for education of girls. This includes reopening of schools and universities for female students. Well, coming from Haqqani, it's a huge claim, and the place where he made it is crucial too. He made the announcement at a gathering where religious scholars, private sector representatives and tribal elders were present. And this is turning heads because these leaders are some of the loudest voices against female education. But Taliban's track record on promises show big holes all over. First, they barred girls and young women from schools and universities. Then they banned them from parks and gymnasiums. Women were then stopped from working for the United Nations or even NGOs. After that, fresh warnings were issued for women to cover up in public. And then the Afghan Vice Ministry confirmed a ban on women-run beauty parlors or salons. When Kabul fell into the hands of Taliban on August 2021, everyone had their eyes on their policies on women, and the Taliban 2.0 made promises in exchange for a formal recognition. But 2 years later, the Taliban of the 21st century is not very different from its 1990s version. The promises are tall, but the actions against them fall flat. So why the new promise? Is it only another glaring effort to cobble together brownie points? Or will something progressive actually happen this time around? And for more on this, we are now being joined by Lean O'Donnell. She is a journalist and Afghanistan expert and also an author. Hello, Lean, and welcome to the show. I'll begin by asking you, what do you think about the timing of the Education Minister's statement and promise? Is he to be believed? And what do you make of the Taliban government issuing contradicting promises to women? Are they being pressured by the West or something outside?
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me. I think that what's happening is been happening all along, that there are parts of the Taliban represented by Siraj Haqqani and his people who are based in Kabul, who understand that the international community, whatever that is really, but the Western community that is led ostensibly by the United States and the United Nations, are wanting to hear that there will be some concessions made to the pressure that they are putting on. There have been no concessions made by the Taliban since they took power in 2021, and no consequences for their excesses, which include, as you say, keeping women indoors and preventing them from working and stopping girls right up through university from going to school. But they're very cleverly using this issue of the freedom and the rights of women to give the Western and UN community the impression that they are willing to make some movement on these egregious policies. But the fact is that they're not, that the suppression and repression of women is very much central to overall Taliban ideology. Mm-hmm. And over the past 20 years, what we've seen is a centrifugal power formation around the figure of the emir. At the moment, the emir is Hibatullah Akhundzada. He's based in Kandahar. He took some time to come to public view, but he's very much in control. He issues the edicts, and there is no part of the Taliban that is going to go against it. Right. Siraj is one of the Kabul faction, and he knows very well. He's very clever. He knows very well what the Western powers want to hear and how to make sure that billions of dollars in international aid keeps on flowing to Afghanistan, where it is being largely pilfered by the Taliban.
Lynn, very quickly before I let you go, I just want to know, when Taliban makes these promises and then they break them, what's the implication of that going forward?
Well, it's very difficult to know because at the moment the United Nations is effectively functioning illegally in Afghanistan. Since the Taliban said last December that they weren't allowed, that the NGOs, the charities are not allowed to employ women, that means that the UN cannot perform according to its own charter, fundamental to which is non-discrimination. So I think that going forward there are going to be a lot of questions about how effective the UN can be in Afghanistan.
Lynn or Donald, thank you very much for all your insights and for talking to WION World is One today.
Thanks for having me.